So for balance for us right now, looks like grinding until March so that we can, take most of March to really realign, to really reassess, to really I'm going to think of March as like a giant deep breath of just getting back to center.
Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. You can go to our website at them4show.com, our Instagram at them4show, and our YouTube channel at Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making.
And welcome to the M4 Show.
The balance for me is I think I'm just prioritizing more, like I'm the person who needs to focus more on the balance, who needs more of the downtime than he does. He like gets energized from work. It's a really weird phenomenon.
I want to write right after this. I'm just trying to write.
I'm sure. Okay, here we go. But long story short, realizing that there's just ebbs and flows in life, and you have those times where it's gonna be more of work, less of pleasure, and then you have the times like in March, right? We're planning a wonderful trip where it will be definitely more pleasure than work. And so that means leading up to that, we got to get it done. We got to make sure that we are doing what we need to so that we can enjoy that time period. So just realizing that it's not like every day, you're going to get a 50-50 split and it's always going to be equal. It ebbs and flows. And even with our relationship, and the amount of time we spend, lately, most of the time we've been spending has been on, has been business related, right? A lot of our time has been business related, and that's okay. That's the season of life we're in. That's it. That's the time period we're in. And yeah, long story short, I don't know what balance exactly looks like right now. It's something we're trying to find, but I think it's something that changes throughout time, and we are learning to be fluid with what balance looks like. So for balance for us right now, looks like grinding until March so that we can, take most of March to really realign, to really reassess, to really I'm going to think of March as like a giant deep breath of just getting back to center. That's a really long way to answer your question.
Love that. Planting those seeds and taking that time to flow in that season. So you're putting all you're doing your planting now so that in March you have that crop that you can harvest.
Yes.
Yeah. That is balance.
Yeah.
Go with the flow, go with the seasons.
Yeah.
That's what we've been leaning into. But my question is regarding relationship and business. So I noticed that a lot of people be like, don't do that. Don't do that. But like, how do you manage that? Like, how do you manage like personal time versus business time?
Yes, great question. And I think we're gonna have slightly different answers. Because as she says, I love working, or I love the results of working. So like we'll be doing the podcast, or let's see, what else did we just do? Or we'll travel to North Carolina for like the Boys Conference, the All Black National Convention. And that kind of stuff is fun for me, right? We're traveling together. We're staying in the hotel together. We're tabling, selling the board games, talking about the podcast. We'll do the podcast on the weekends. And that whole experience will be slightly energizing and enjoyable for me. Look, we're going to get right back into the amazing podcast. But if you didn't know, in 2017, we created Black Wall Street, the board game, because we thought more families needed to know about the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street. More families needed to know about the legacy of Black excellence left behind of Tulsa Black Wall Street, that we can own a Madam C.J. Walker Beauty Salon. We can have a Booker T. Washington High School. We can have an Uncle Steve's Barbecue. We can have a Renaissance man like Simon Berry, who had his own taxi service and bus service that got bought out by the city of Tulsa. We have brilliance in our DNA. We wanted to make sure that your family can play a game that teaches them about this brilliance. So we have Black Wall Street, the board game right here. We had the first edition available in 2017. That got sold out. We're on the second edition right now, or you can get the beautiful masterpiece version of the game as well. It's up to you. Head to playblackwallstreet.com and get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game, to empower you, your family, and generations to come. Playblackwallstreet.com. Let's get back to the episode. But not always the same for the queen, depending
completely draining. Completely draining. Doesn't mean not enjoyable, but
right.
He at the end of that weekend is like, oh my god, we have all these things, and I'm like, I need a day to like recharge.
Yeah. So what we used to do, and we need to get back to and make sure we keep this going in 2023, is we'll have like once a week date nights, right? Whether it's Friday, whether it's Saturday, but we'll either go out to a restaurant, we'll cook together, we'll go to the drive-in and just have that intentional time where it's like, all right, Devon, I'm not working, I'm not writing, we're not doing a podcast, we're not replying to Play Black Wall Street DMs. We are just we're here with the queen, enjoying whatever moment that is. And that's something that I try to do on a consistent basis. Like when I'm doing time with the queen, all right, it's queen time, put the phones down. When it's work time, it's work time. When it's queen time, it's queen time. You got something you want to sprinkle on that, my love?
Yeah, so
yeah.
I think, part of the challenge, I think, in how we've evolved in being a couple, but also being in business together, is learning each other in a new way. Mm-hmm. So I think, being together, you learn a lot about each other already. Being married, we're learning a lot about each other already. But I think starting a business together, and even, we've had this business together for years, but I think really like the past year, we've really got to like work together in terms of like me quitting my full-time job and like joining the Play Black Wall Street organization. Like we're working together on a daily basis more than we ever have before. And so I think that has brought its own experiences, challenges, right? Things to work through, epiphanies, things to learn about each other in even how we operate in like professional setting. But I think that it is about, again, coming back to this word balance. And like at some point we tried to implement office hours or work hours. I don't remember what we called them, but it was like, okay, we are allowed to work, right? This was again a season where we had, I think, not as much quite going on, but we gave ourselves 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And so that was within, this is also when we had full-time jobs, both of us, within the full-time job. And when we come home and do everything else, you have until 8 p.m. to work. And then after that, it's like us time. That's not necessarily a reality for us anymore, but for that period of time, I think that did help us find some balance. But now I think it's about how do we take those experiences that we know we're already going to have and still make sure that, yes, we're getting the business done, but we'll also have time for us too. So like the trips to North Carolina, like we still have, like we're still foodies. So like we still always like to go find a Black-owned business that we go and support. We sit and we have a nice meal together. Jair's usually with us as well, but we still have those intentional times of like, let's sit and enjoy this new place we're getting to visit. At the end of the day, it is still traveling. So it's a constant journey, but I think learning each other and really like observing, like, okay, this is a situation we're in. How did he handle that situation? Okay, that's interesting. So when we're in a situation under pressure, or when we're, in a situation where we're working with a business partner, this is how he operates. Okay, how can I then support him in that process? Or, how did my actions help or hinder that process and how it went? How am I adding more stress onto him? How can I help take stress away? It's just a constant, it's a constant journey. And I think there's not necessarily a destination where I think we're trying to get to of, complete bliss of knowing exactly where we are as entrepreneurs. It's a constant journey. of just continuing to learn each other individually, learn the other person and how they operate and how we can support the other person. And then eventually, you know, when we got little younglings running around us, when they can come and support the vision as well. But yeah, it's not easy. I don't like to paint an unrealistic picture that, you know, running a business with your spouse or with your partner is easy. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't do it with anybody else.
That part. Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.